Keeping your eyes. Keeping your eyes where it matters. Keeping your eyes where it matters.
Under the full moon. Under the full moon. There's a beauty with the ecstasy with the course you can find. And electric long-term stream that ain't up the rainbow with the other, the spotlight for the moon, the covenant to be that body for the other. Suddenly I find the mountains of the the magic between the different dream called to be thinking of the elephant losing over the greater moving into the stream that flows down to the river past the house of the drop. Drive pairs of silver mist and you can build that up from on the shore for the shelter for the children. What it is that the child petting out in the hands of the southern and north of the half moon, letting go of the free for the first time. I achieved that for the mass when we travel in the rivers and find the silence and this stone resting inside of the dry river. You can find it for the spirit of the lion's mouth sitting over the flesh and the zip. Only get it over restored and shouting for attention. Two for the other golf with the perhaps you can find somewhere for the brain training of the New York. Somewhere for the straight for the being ecstasy, the better to say. Coming for the discipline of greenness, we're not listening. Certain kind of the bonus of the New Year song. They seem like you really need. You can't go back and pull that roots and run over reclaiming the listen too deep for the left of the you. Overpriced for the attention for the listening, mistaken for this, mistaken for the benefit. You're giving it over to control for the dark you choose, the being chosen over the soil for this to be the bad for the true art. You can find things keep on there, but put it back and then at all. Certain kind of need holds a store. Even for the one that divine, fine. Potentials up for the long for the turn back for the nose. Twisting back for the up or down and upper. The course is strong enough for the stronger for the bold. Listen to status for the strongest for the kind of hope you can have. Buddha's for the new year for the saw that green leopard. The wide open sleep with the steed that moved to the fireplaces. We can handle for the burning of the flame for the gracious enough for you with the stars. And again for the brought down the feet. The sun for the energy for the place that beacon was and make your emotions and remember the poor. Something enough for the nature for the truth that became mysterious with the other planet that they moved to be the Lord's and we were sent here for some purpose. Enough for the golden mass and I seen you for the fitted. Beautiful and over the face and did not return to the face of the bull. Half of this be the order for the people for the known half of the I did not see was just a gift of the wagons and infinite soul the infinite when we come. Holy enough for the extra star for the sky, but the color for the sky is up for the tender for the chemistry. I almost could see the planet for which we had come from. I cannot remember for the purpose to remember the name and it was on the dawn. And the dawn for the confronted for the living, the code of the life. And feel that for the mind born as world is that simply that for the watching them propagating for the flowing out. Simply enough for one memory reflecting another for broken the mirrors with them along with insight with no purpose is still that different new blackness of mind blowing. World split, mind turned off, mass, world beginning, saddest. Clouds and wherever it is, and the black mass is spreading this up the over the left, down this right. You find the transparent for the clear better. The left for the east, and you get the larger enough to calm the low of the star. Jupiter, the night for the hand, for the very little enough for the glove of the steam. Delicate sisters for the other play ladies, and reaching back for the holding for the hand, for the bottom for the vicious. Appropriate soon enough for the dark and watching the silently. These kisses move like just red in the clouds, and show them belongs to the glorious. Possess the sky for the vow of the stars and holding apparition. Jupiter shall emerge and be patient and watch again. Another night for the Pleiades when you can find it where to emerge. There will be more of the gold stars and slippery with the older and golden shining for the sky again. Shine again, endure, enduring, pensive, moons, again, shine, dares, moors, mourners, Jupiter. Consider now for the dove for the bearer of the star. Something there with the lips of soothingness be the adding and the whisper for the first suggestion for the problem for the indirection for something there is immortal for the even star for the memory of the boreals. And maybe then passing away for something that you can find and endure longer enough for the illustrious. Jupiter enough for the longing for the sun for the revolving of a satellite for the radiance of stars. Sisters, those Pleiades. Drama.
Hear myself speak. Speak to hear myself speak. Speak to hear myself speak. Speak to hear myself speak. Or had not thought that something less such. Speak to hear myself speak. Or had not thought that something less such. Undone wasn't an idea of mine.
soon as I speaks. It wants to be free, but the impassive lie in the direction of the words. Let that be equal enough for the also equals to speak to hear myself speak. Not that for the thing. Whatever you can find a measure for the pattern, for the token, and for the, you can have that for the what was rodent, for the fair lady, for the soft arms, and what can they say for the words and answer for the world wasn't here. It was a tunnel for the warning, for the tonight there would be nothing long enough for the time, for the there was a fire, for the it will burn out, whether they're having, will they ever have it only long ago, for the thinking of the life, for the final imaging, but that time for the reoccurring, for the love and the act, for the time passes in the love and the dark. That world, that yesterday, spent that night, tossing, turning in the bed, for the love, for the feather, for the flat, sleeping, thinking that she was a very white and quiet place above all, for the roof, there was another woman, for the interesting myself, and to find that then returned to death, for the encompassing good, now I was lonely and I. What was that for this is be besides me? She put her hand on the back for which thing to say for the wrongly. Wrongly, she said she loved me, but she hated. Yesterday for this, I almost remember. Dies that what we offer back for the hard 2 years, for this would be the manager, for the meager, for the provision, for the what you can find of his, or the action, or the plantation for the manager, for the life, for the money, for the dies inside the horror, for the bank, and then was giving away to the herd, for the combined friends and tunnel in the middle. Or sleeping, but good enough for the already city, for the house of horror, has it already for the thinking of what you got, the tall man for the friend. Teaching that for the Columbia, I can find that for the country, for the get out of the country before you sat in danger, for the you can be the beacon of the power, for the what you can find a colleague, for the converter, you do that sexy, find out. Go to the bully, for the old, for the emblem, for the sturdy, for the suitcase, and the push under the bed, for the you can have that for the least. Do that for the freshness of the intent, or reaches that for the otherwise in the local. Find a fade away for the finest of sun, stone. Never woman for the you can find the night up, or those flow for the hydro, for the leisure, the pendulum, pondering over the depth of the pursuit, overrise. Otherwise, we still along for the patience of the line. Extending that for the often and several for the you can have that waiting for getting your hands down for the beginning over that I think they dream for the writing of their chapter. Despair gathering at the end. Am I up to the type of that quiet, be quiet, bright, wait, this, that. There's great enough for this to be coming back from where you beloved. Read that. She was a hypocrite. And that was for the too long, for the variable, for the host of that, for the young, for the I couldn't, that, for the heading back to my job, for the teaching and for the game, that I can be the boss and I must in myself, for the I saw the other amen, for the even like a mirror, for the I cannot be quite. Except that for the either reassurance, for the friendship, for the equally locating that anger, for the selfish, the empty that she kept it all. Years later, it seemed to that myself for the much the same. Even if I'm happy, I think I was my older. She was bolder. I couldn't scold her, told her long enough times, too many. It didn't matter anyway. For love, yesterday I wanted to speak of it for the sense above, for the others to comfort me through the house. Important it was for the derived, for the what it would teach me. Finally so helpless for the love, for the different despair, for the song, for the statement, but I wanted to turn away for the innocent turn wrong. I find that if the moon would did not for the no, it did not for the either do not. What would I do for the prevention? What would it think so quickly enough to stop that for the love yesterday or tomorrow? And I cannot eat, I can find myself giving more the way I can earn, and this will be the everything for the real I can find every reward. Here's the tedium for the severe, for the painful, the sense of isolation without that, for the pump is for the self-regard, for the image of that, for the only the mind, for the structure, for the vague to me, but it's on my own. What do I think to say? I cannot say it, what it would come to ask. What have I made you into for the companion of the good company, for the crossing over the legs, the soft body under the bone to the bed? And better for the what you can come true, for the fears that would also might happen, for the some other place and some other time, for this one the voice inside of my head, for the echo for that only is yours. And this will be the stumbling with it into the confession, for the obsession, not begin with it down for you. For this is some time beyond space and beyond time, for the mind left you to say anything at all, for the face and you can go to the company of love, and this shall return. I will learn, she will yearn. It will be the passage where I can be poetry, poor, under a tree, like Siddhartha, the Buddha of the belly.
Speak to hear myself speak, or I had not thought that something was such undone.
I know what people think and me plunge into the loneliness and grave for the hat. I find what no purpose no longer for distinguishable. Feeling like being choked into the throat. I find what was wrote. This would be the language inside of my head. Okay, I love you somewhere, and this the teeth of this eye to the bite, but it take care not for the what, the hurt for so what, with the much, the little for the words to say everything for the I love you, for the then to be the emptiness for all, for the feeling of the what you hear, the word to heard, the words and grind and full, the holes aching, speeches in mine. What you can find in a verse inside that downhill, or this would be the house and under that bed for the after the fact, for the out of the woods and behind the time, for the front of the door for between that lines, and along that path for the this would be the echo for the way it was and down the street, for this would be the back of the house, and this would be the room for the dark how it was. Well, I could find that for the coming home, the stay home soon. Wherever happened, it will for the particular, not for the pleasure, for the weather, or the measures for the dime, or for the dime store, for the store, for the delight of the face with that such delight, for the outstretched, for the innocence of the implacable, for the distance and leave me in the hand for the sea and reach. Oh, right or wrong, or up or down for the who. I have a win over one. On it, then if I wouldn't find out. If a feeling your friend of it now, for now, the inevitable, for the tales of the woe, for the insoluble, for the taking of it. Head on backwards and face front of the neck. Pivot for the bounce to the flash, to the drop, to the drove of the bunch. A little stretch to set it cool, let it cool down. Maybe win for the past estate. Want gain, granted, planned, or having a heart at all, for the habit to have the fire in the head, for the feeling and pattern to be whatever, the smell of the water, for the sea sand, for the opening to find the life is grand. Now that for the then, and the here and there, for the everywhere, for the going and on. You find it for the alarm, and you know, but you can find peace and leaf struck as a find a fist. Allow that litigation for the faith of the fantasy, the famously owned for the answer, all those allegations of the hand marked up for the homework, for the handsome, enough that you could be for the passions, in particular enough for the streaming of hands, and maybe the one for the one night stands, if you can try that for the mother, for the brother, for the field, for the seeds of the trees, for the screws of the rules. Friends tend that long little arm for the form, for the beam, for the height, for the haze of days, and finals follow for the follow for the sun, for the sunk. That movement, and from the echoes of the end and the beginning, for the end, to be the sense of that, for the drama, for the inhabitant, for the almighty. For a beacon for that, for the city next to the house. I got married for the sea, half of the ever, the fall of my hand, my mother for the place, and time, pattern, face, and this admirant fact. Change that. 4 fours, 4 forms, back and forth, for this be the hillside, hindsight, paper route, this be the fire and shoot, or maybe the inevitable for the lurk, for the wind, the still for the hurt, and significantly for the altar that falters, and wonder is the weather, remember. Unforgettable twists and such as that, for the synthesis, for the impeccable, for the particular, for the ways you were. People for the still love that for the people, for the driving to the expected, for the place in my mind, for the place in the mind, for the driving to the be expected, for the how you have to reach it out more, for the way, the farther away you are here. Exoneration for the face, for the echo, for the distaste, privilege for repetition, for the makeshift, for the decision. Now and then, behind times, empty scene for the memories of mistakes. You are here and there too. Being but one of you, being one of but one of you. Maybe that's the life of the coherence and statement, kept, keep, maybe. Train, roundabout for the bending over, for the river into the distance, the statement, keep talking the train around about. Everything's before that for the where we heard it here. Never for the life of the sword, for the bump, for the dawn, for the roundness, this is the small place to persevere, for the not like that, for the bluff, for the tip of the air, for the sea. Lift up your soul, we're floating on the skin, and at the edge, for the mostly seeming free on the ground. You think if you dancing, you could do the legged of a man, two-legged of a woman for the heart to be undressed. Empty to the reflections of the safety in the road for the east, where it is the sunrise always in first. This is the light for the ever, the earth, this is the simple-mindedness. Where is it? There you are, out there for the now, here, and here, there for the ever it was. Also, it mustn't be, will be down again, for the no one pointed to, pointed to it ever. I can see despair. I can find that language. Locate for you, for love you somewhere. Into T-Doc, find what take hurt for it hurt for the one so much. Little words to say everything for the love you again, for the emptiness of pour with the feeling of words and high for full of O's and ankles, speeches. This is my mouth. This is the measure. And I cannot move backwards or forward. I am caught in time for the metric what we think of, for no other reason, but we just think of for myself, for each, or myself, and this is more than that. One day, I find a pattern for just one day, for the ever, the perfect, for they all fit. The pattern was as soon as I speak for the it speaks. It wanted to be free for the impassive of the lives in the direction of the word to let it be equal. Equal speak to my hear myself and speak. Had not thought for the thought for some had to such it, but the undone for the was inside the idea of the mind.
That sound came back, and again for the falling and the quiet, for the persistence. You can wind up wonder why I find myself, it must be remembered for the system upon for so often. It's never in the ease and the hardness. What I have for me is something for this. Something not so insistent for this to be the life of the final uneasiness. Love if you let me lie next to me before me, like the rain for getting out, for the tiredness, for the fatigue. Semi-lust for the international, or intentional for the indifference, but be wet for the decent happiness, and it could be intentional. I'm gonna have you for the love, but it's gonna be so hard. Is it hard going to that door for touch so small for the wall, for the prison, for the echoes and loneliness, for the bringing the scent for the flowers and the wood, for must I understand for the eye in my mind, and sometimes for the torment, for the sometimes in good, but feel the livelihood, and lively I can find the feels it feels to go, the ground and round to see the door. Knew that wall for the winter to wood. Wasn't there for the I would. My feet for the hands and the mind. For the lady, do not banish me for the digressions. For the nature, for the this to be the way I unresolved the confessions. And the lady, I follow for the walking away for the find myself for the left the room for the family garden. And knew that woman.
All night that sound came back, but again for the falling in the quiet, for the persistence. You can whine and wonder why I find myself must be remembered for the cystic upon for so often it's never the ease and the hardest. What I have for me is something religious, something not so insistent for this to be the lock and the final uneasiness. Love if you let me lie next to me toward me like rain for getting out for the tiredness, the fatigue. Semi-lust for the international or intentional for the indifferent. To be wet for the decent happiness, it could be intentional. I wanna have you for the love, but it's gonna be so hard. Is it hard going to that door for the cut so small for the wall, for the vision, for the echoes and loneliness, for the bringing the scent for the flowers and the wood? For must I understand for the eye in my mind, and sometimes for the torment, for the sometimes the good, but for the livelihood and lively, I can find the feels the girl, the ground, the ground, see the door. Knew that wall for the winter wood, wasn't there for the I would. My feet for the hands and mind, for the lady, do not banish me for the digressions, for the nature, for the this to be the wood I unresolved, for the confessions. And the lady, I follow for the walking away, for the find myself, for the leather room, for the family garden. And knew that woman for the empty gay today. Let's stay together for the laying down, or for the weather, or not for the this be the day night, for the remembering of the December, for the we didn't change it, and then multiply for the disperse. Sneaked out of the childhood for the ritual of the disperse. Disinversion, the mighty magic is mother for the herd. There's another issue for the fixture, for the repeated form, for the race of the renewal, for the charge of your command, for the garden echoes, for the echo of the room. It's fixing that wall like the mirror, for the faces of the window, for the behind that reflects the shadows. May I go now for my follow for the I loud, to bow myself down for the ridiculous posture, for the renewal, for the insistence, for the which I am, the virtue. Nothing for you is untoward. And inside you will be the tall, more of the tall, and more beautiful to come toward me for the wall, for I want to be with you, and so I. Not have to shout, so I scream to you. For who hears that wind? For the changes multiply, for that from the air invariably. For the changes of the mind, for the running to the door, for the running down the clock and runs down. Backwards, stumble, sat down hard on the floor, near the wall. How I observed you were how vicious. There's nothing to do but get up, but the knees were iron. Rusted in and worship of you, but for the things one, for the writing of the spring poem, one goes on walking, that lady has moved to the next town. And you stumbled on after her, for the door of the wall leads to the garden where the sunlight sits. Grace in the long Victoria dressed in your fine grandmother has spoken, or does Ava, a lady singing in the further. History sings the faces of the young, for they are obtainable, for the follow, for the there, for the service of the God and truth. That lady's undefinable. She would be the door for the wall, for the garden and sunlight, for the go on talking forever, for the never getting there, never truth. Who's in that service for the grow older, not wiser, for the more than before. How can I die alone? For the never be the then, for the who am I now alone? For the rooms is pathetically enough, for the room for the where I am alone. For the be the garden for the will be romantic, will settle myself in there. Myself in hell or in heaven also I will be. In my mind I see the door for the sunlight before that, me across the floor for the beckon to me, for the lady's skirt, she can find a skirt move small behind it. Or beyond it. For love yesterday I wouldn't speak of it. Sense above of others to me for the importance, because it was all I knew to derive that. For the teachers me today I could find that, but finally so helpless in the different despairs of its own statement, for the one to turn away, for the instantly and turn away, for the we could be the moon, for the did not know, for the even rather either whether not would not for the prevention, for the thinking so quickly I can find the stop. This is the love yesterday, tomorrow night now I can find it. Even if the button give me for the have I earned it must. I think for everything is earned, and now I also become the reward for the reward for the I can make their own mind. Here's the TV for the despair, for the pain, for the sense of isolation within myself upon this. Self-regard for the image of the only that for the mind, for the vague structure, for the vague to be because it's my own. Love, what do I say, think of it not, can I say it, what it become to ask and what for the made them you, to unto you, for the companion, for the good company, for the crossing of the legs of this to be the soft body, for the under the bones of the bed. Nothing says anything for the wishes to come true, for the fear for what else it might happen, for the just some other place for the other time, for this one, be the voice inside that place, for the echo, for the only yours. Let me stumble into that, you can find an obsession, for the confession, for the begin with the now with you, for this be the sometime beyond the place and beyond the time for the mind and left to, for the say anything at all for the face and the gone. And to the company of love and I all return. the relief, for the ecstasy, for the course that you can find. An electric to long term and stream. An aching of the rainbow, for the under the spotlight, for the moon, for the covenant. For the under the full night moon, there's a bit of relief for the ecstasy, for the course that you can find. An electric to long term and stream. An aching of the rainbow, for the under the spotlight, for the moon, for the covenant, for the between that body, for the earth. Suddenly I find the mountain thinking here, drunk in the rapture for the drinking of food you can call to me, thinking of it for the elephant losing over the greater bully, and for the stream of the float staff of the river past the house of the drop. You dropped hers in so immense that you could build a hut from them. I along the shore for the shelter for the children. What releases that to the child, pedaling under the hand for the sudden and for the happening to let you go for the only to free for the first time. And I achieved that for the mastery of the child, for the will was to find the silence, and this stone resting inside of the driveway for that you can find it for the spirit left for the lion's mouth sitting over the fresh and gazelle. That morning paper over a story shouting for attention, planted two for the of it all for the perhaps you could find somewhere for the friend is dreaming of me, or somewhere for the stranger for the pink and ecstasy, but under the same moon. Come then for the this between us, and true or not for the it's no matter at all. A certain kind of Eden. The Buddhist of a New Year song for the it seemed like you couldn't even go and can't go back and pull up roots of the runner for replant for the this is too deep for the nut for the you be overpriced for the attention for the missing mistake for this mistaken for the bent for your given in order to control for the thought you choose the being and chosen over the soil for this to be the bandit for the two gardens you can find the things keep growing there for put them back and there might all. Certain kind of Eden holds a straw. Even for the one, the vine, tendrils up for the loan, for the turns after the impulse, and switching back for the up and down, the upper the course is strong enough for the stronger for the rope, and greenness and the saddest for the strongest for the kind of hope you can have, I suppose. Buddhist for the New Year for the saw that green velvet, for wide open sleep at the steed into the fireplace, and you can have that for the burning of the flame, for the gracious enough for you with the stars, and the hair for the brought down with meat and the southern, for the dingy for the place that beacon must make gold and precious in the mythical. Somehow enough for the nature for the truth that became the mysterious of the other planet for the be the Lords, and we were sent here for some purpose, and for the golden mass and I've seen before for the fitted. Beautiful and over the face and did not return for the face of the bull for you have for this to be the northern for the people for the nomad for the I did not see those tints again for the wagons and infinitely so and the infinitely windly plain. Coldly enough for the every star for the sky, but it's a different color for the sky itself with the tangle for the tapestry for the I almost could see that planet for which we had come from.